My summer on Desolation Peak. Monday, June 16th. Today was my first day in the Desolation Peak Fire Lookout Tower, high up in the North Cascade Mountains in Washington. The Fire Lookout Tower was built in 1932, 6 years after a big fire on the mountain. Because there are no trees on the mountain, I can see other mountains, hills, and forests very far from here. But I can't see other houses, the city, or other people. They are very far from here, too. This summer, my friends are all on vacation, but I'll work as a fire lookout on Desolation Peak instead. As a fire lookout, I'll use binoculars to watch for fires on the mountain and in the forests. If I see a small fire, I will hike down the mountain and use water to stop the fire. And if it's a big fire, I have a radio I can use to call for help. Yesterday, I took a motorboat across Ross Lake, and then I hiked 6 miles up a very difficult trail to the Fire Lookout Tower, where I'll work and live for the summer. The mountains are very beautiful here, and although it is summer, there is still snow on Desolation Peak. I'm now going to be with the animals, the trees, and some of the books I want to read. I also want to begin writing a book about my work as a fire lookout. In the 1940s, some famous American writers worked as fire lookouts in Arizona, California, and here in Washington on Desolation Peak. And when they were not watching for fires on the mountains, they were writing books. Because I have a lot to do tomorrow, I'll go to sleep early tonight. Friday, June 20th. My 5th day in the Fire Lookout Tower. This morning it was windy and very cold outside. I made a fire in the wood-burning stove, and I only went outside once to get some snow for water. At home, in my apartment in Seattle, the warm water comes out of the faucet. Here on Desolation Peak, my only water is from snow and ice. I have to carry the snow and ice in a bucket up the ladder into the Fire Lookout Tower. Then I put the snow and ice in a pot on the stove and wait. The Fire Lookout Tower is small. It's quiet here without television or a computer. But I'm not bored. I have windows in every wall, and this is the best place to watch the beautiful North Cascade Mountains and the sky. There is also a guitar here, but I don't know how to play guitar. It is very different here without other people, but I love to have the time to think. One of the books I brought with me says that we should not always think about what is wrong. It is sometimes more important to remember to live well with what you have. In this forest, I have a lot of pine needles, so I have learned to make pine needle tea. It's easy. First, get a cup of fresh pine needles from a white pine tree. Then, cut the pine needles with a knife. Finally, put the pine needles into hot water and wait 30 minutes, or an hour if you like strong tea. Tuesday, July 8th. I have been on Desolation Peak for 4 weeks, but there have been no fires. Today, a family hiked up the mountains and visited my Fire Lookout Tower. We ate lunch and drank pine needle tea, and we talked about the books I am reading. After lunch, I taught them what to do if they find a fire in the forest, and they played the guitar and sang. It was nice to visit with them. I spoke about the book I want to write and my apartment in Seattle. I miss my friends in my apartment, but I don't want to return home before the end of summer. There is a lot of work for me here. Wednesday, August 20th. What a night! Yesterday afternoon I was outside giving food to some birds, and I saw a fire in the forest. It was almost 3 miles down the mountain, and it took me a long time to find it. The fire was in the dry grass, but it was not in the trees. I was able to use water to stop the fire, but it was late when I finished, so I slept in a tent in the forest. I returned to the Fire Lookout Tower today, but I am very tired, so I'm going to sleep now. Saturday, September 20th. My last evening in the Fire Lookout Tower on Desolation Peak has arrived. The dry summer has ended, and tomorrow I'm going to hike down the mountain to Ross Lake. A friend will be waiting for me on the other side of the lake. We're going to drive to his house between the lake and Seattle. I'll talk about the mountains and my books, and he will talk to me about his summer traveling in Europe. I did a lot of work this summer, but it will take me 2 or 3 more years to finish my book. I can't wait to return next year to the Fire Lookout Tower, my summer home in the North Cascade Mountains.